We appreciate you getting together. A few weeks ago, I had the pleasure of introducing Kyra Elzy as our interim head women's basketball coach. Circumstances at that point in time were turning quick and had not allowed Kyra and I the opportunity to talk about her plans for style of leadership of our program. Although I felt we would get there, I wanted to have a little bit more conversation for both of our benefit, just to make sure that there was alignment and making sure that we had the University of Kentucky and our women's basketball program in the right spot as we both thought about it together. Kyra has earned and deserved the opportunity to lead this program into the future. With that, I'm going to keep it short and sweet. It is my pleasure and my honor to introduce and take away the interim title and make Kyra Elzy the head women's basketball coach at the University of Kentucky. So congratulations to Kyra, to Dexter, and Jackson. We're extremely excited about looking into the future and watching you lead Wildcats. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to the new head coach. Coach, all yours.
Thank you, Mr. Barnhart. I really appreciate the opportunity to be the new head coach at the University of Kentucky. It still has not sunk in, but I will get there. But extremely appreciative to you, Mr. Barnhart, President Capilouto, the UK administration, and all of the UK personnel just for the encouragement and the support that I have received thus far. And I want to give a big shout out to our staff, Nia Butts, Amber Smith, Coach Lynn Dunn, Daniel Boyce, and all of our support staff. You all are amazing. It is the people that make Kentucky special, and our job as a staff is to make sure that our players have the best college experience possible. So our motto, we will inspire, impact, and influence to make sure our players are ready for life after Kentucky. This is a big responsibility. I am ready for the moment. Thank you to Coach Mitchell for empowering me and giving me the confidence and wings to soar. We hope to make you proud. This year is for you, Coach. Our players and staff will continue to live by the core values of Kentucky women's basketball, which will be family, hard work, discipline, accountability, and servant leadership. We will put a team on the floor that you are proud of. So Big Blue Nation, I've said it before, I will give you my all along with this staff. Thank you.
Now open up the questions. Please raise your hand and we will address you so that you can unmute and ask your question. Then please mute yourself once your question is finished. We'll start with John Wong.
Hey, this question is for Mitch. Mitch, I hope you're doing well. Thank you for doing this. But frequently, the interim tag has some negative connotations. And I know it's just been a couple of months since Coach Mitchell announced this surprise retirement. Was there anything else other than just making sure that you had all your I's dotted and T's crossed as to why you didn't and give Coach Elzy the head basketball coach tag right at the beginning?
Yeah, no, I think it's very clear, John. The challenge is simply that I would never go through and just hand titles out without having an opportunity to sit down with someone and making sure. It's no different than a coach walking into a home and recruiting and sitting there and say they see a film and they say that person's really good on film, but they haven't had a chance to assess what their thoughts are and their plans are as they try and fit them into their program. I want that same opportunity to have a chance. I've always interviewed my head coaches and had an opportunity to spend time with them. And Kyra and I, although I've been around her for many, many years, I'd never had the opportunity to spend time with her and just listen to her talk about how she wants to lead. And I didn't think it would take long, but I wanted to make sure that we were in the right spot and that she felt comfortable with the partnership she's creating with me and vice versa. We got to work together in the years to come. And those are conversations that you need to have before you make sure that you tie the knot, so to speak.
Josh Sullivan.
Congratulations, Coach. And just a question for Mitch. Do you guys have any details you can release as far as a contract, years, things like that, or is that something you're working on? Thank you.
No, it's all done. Josh and Kyra and I and our staff members finalized it all yesterday. It's being from the last signature is at the president's office, and so he'll sign that and we'll release that to you guys this afternoon.
Lee K. Howard.
Congratulations, Coach. I just wanted to ask you, taking that interim tag off, did you expect it to happen this soon, this early in the season? And does that change your mentality whatsoever?
Thank you so much. No, I didn't expect it. You know, Mr. Barnhart and I met when the initial news happened, and, you know, he named me the interim. And at that time, the staff and I knew we had a responsibility to make sure that we were guiding and leading the players. We were going to put our head down and grind and give them the best of us so we could have some success this season. And the mentality doesn't change. We have a job to do. We are going to lead, guide, prepare for basketball games, and make sure that our players are taking care of their academic achievements on and off the court. So that's where we are. So the mentality has not changed.
Javon Hale?
I'm just curious, what was your message to recruits during this interim period, and how does making this official kind of change that message moving forward?
Well, the thing about recruiting is we have great relationships with our AAU coaches, our high school coaches, and that is because of our staff. Amber Smith leads us out in recruiting. Coach Butts does an amazing job of connecting. So our message has been the same. They believed in what we were doing at Kentucky, our style of play, our discipline, our family atmosphere, and stability with the coaching staff. So they have been very excited about the possibilities of Kentucky. And now that I am the head coach, it does make it easier to get Wildcats here. So we are excited, and we will continue to work hard to build relationships to win them over.
Dorothy Gentry.
Hi, Coach. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Can you talk about what it means to become the permanent head coach in the backdrop of 2020? Say her name, Breonna Taylor, and more, and also about joining the sisterhood of the Black women head coaches, women basketball in the SEC.
You know, there is a lot going on right now with the social injustice, with COVID. We are all dealing with a lot as basketball coaches, as players across the country. The thing about it is you have to be resilient. We talk to our players about being resilient. We have to be tough. We have to be flexible. We got to be willing to adjust, because every day brings something different. And our kids have been resilient during this time with all the changes that have been made, and they remain focused. And as far as the sisterhood, I am honored to join the other sisters in this business. There are a lot of people that laid the foundation, that opened the doors for me to have this opportunity. When you can go back to Coach Stringer and Coach Locke Maddox and Coach Don Staley and Carolyn Peck. So there were a lot of people before me. And as my college coach would say, you always pay your blessings forward. So I hope this door opens, and now that it has, that I use this opportunity to impact other people and that they can see hope.
Josh Moore.
Hey, Tyler, congrats. To have kind of following up on Dorothy's question a little bit, just what kind of message does it send in this moment to have a Black woman in place in such a prominent position at a school that has, you know, where you're kind of like one of the forward-facing programs of the university?
Well, I think this seat is not just a Black woman, or a woman. It is a big responsibility. I'm very thankful to Mr. Barnhart that he has the confidence in me to lead this program. I am surrounded by amazing people to help me get the job done, and this moment is way bigger than me. There are a lot of people that have put a lot of hard work and investment in Kentucky to make it the program it is today.
John Hale.
Mitch, can you just speak a little bit towards the financial health of the athletic department right now? Obviously, you all have luckily been kind of immune from some of the layoffs and furloughs that we've seen in other departments. Just as we're halfway through this COVID year, can you speak to what the budgetary situation is and how you feel about that moving forward?
We'll address with our athletics meeting tonight at 5 o'clock. So I'm not giving you an invitation to tune in, but you can tune in then, and we'll do that. I don't want to get ahead of that group, and we'll certainly address it at that point in time. And let me go back to something Kyra said about what she was doing with her team. Just as an aside, the grades from the first semester came out. I'm extremely proud of our women's basketball team again. I think it was a 3.2, if I'm not mistaken, Kyra, if I'm in the right zone. I know they continue to do very well in the classroom, and that is a point of emphasis. So we've been really good on the court, and we're off to a fast start, and proud of that. But I'm equally proud of the effort that our women are placing on their academics and the things they're doing in the classroom, and that comes from the leadership of the staff. So thank you for that.
John Wong.
Hi, Kyra. Congratulations. It seems like we've been congratulating you a lot so far this year. But as far as the team, you're 6-0, and there are a lot of teams that have barely gotten out of the gate with 1 or 2 games. I mean, what can you attribute to your start? And not only have you gotten 6 games, but they've been 6 productive games also. So you and Mitch, if you want to, you can chime in on that. Is that just a matter of luck, or is that a matter of the planning that's gone into developing this schedule?
Thank you so much. And as far as being able to play the games, hats off to our medical staff, Jim Madalino. He has been unbelievable during this time with the COVID protocols, and Courtney Jones, who works specifically with women's basketball. I mean, she keeps us in line, makes sure that we have the rules, that we are very informed on what it will take to keep us on the court. And our players and staff, we've had to make a big sacrifice in order to play, and that's time away from friends, time away from family, not being able to do all the things that we would like to do, but in order to play, that's the sacrifice that we have to make. And as far as the games, it does take a little bit of luck as well, so we'll keep that. But we are appreciative that we have had the opportunity to get 6 games in. We've learned a lot. We are a work in progress. We are not a finished product yet. But what I challenge the team with is 1% better every day, and that's in practice and that's in games, in order to reach the goals that we are looking to achieve.
Mark Story.
Congratulations, Kyra. Two questions for Mitch. Was there one thing or a couple of things in particular you saw in Kyra once she became the acting head coach that gave you the comfort to go ahead and make this decision? And how did you weigh the benefits of, hey, we've got a person here we believe in, versus the possible benefits of running a national search?
Well, you got one of the best right at home. Why would you leave home? And I felt very comfortable with what we had at home. Kyra, when standing on the sidelines is a little different than the interview process. That took care of itself. But when we sat down, we went through, she had a incredibly well thought through, detailed plan of the things that she wanted to do to continue to move our program forward. And I think as any administrator would want to know, what's the plan? And when she unveiled that, it became very clear to me that she thought this through at a pretty high level. And that it was that kind of high level thinking that I felt like was going to be necessary to get us to a spot where we had a chance to talk about some of the dreams she has aspired to, Final Fours, national championships, those kind of things that our kids dream of and that she was dreaming of. And so it wasn't, I've watched Kyra again for years. I've known her from her days when she played. And she didn't know me back then, but I watched her. And then to have an opportunity to watch her on the sidelines and be Matthew's assistant and so see her work ethic and the things that she did, it wasn't a hard step. It just, there were some things, some ribbons that needed to be tied up to make sure that we had it in the right spot. And she answered all those questions just like I knew she would. So I was very comfortable, and most of you all know that I love working with assistant coaches and making them head coaches. We've done a bunch of that here. A bunch of our head coaches came here from assistant coach roles, and they have been very successful. And as Matthew was, Mickey DeMoss and Matthew, and now Kyra's in that same lineage, sort of that same kind of thing where she's on that same trajectory. And I'm excited about that. So we've got a bunch of them that are still here, and they've been here a long time. She and I were talking yesterday. We've had several folks that came as assistant coaches and have been here and are very successful coaches of the year, many of them in our league. And so I anticipate the same kind of wonderful stories for Kyra.
Keith Farmer.
Hi, Coach. Can you hear me? I just wanted to ask, have you been able to tell the team yet? Have you gotten some response from them? And what does it mean for this team to know that its head coach is here now and, they don't have to think about it the rest of the season?
Yes, that's great news. We do not have to think about it for the rest of the season. Obviously, we still have a big job to do and stay focused and reach our goals on and off the court. But I was able to tell the team and the emotion and excitement has me fired up. So they didn't know exactly what I was doing. We finished watching film, and I kind of called the staff up one by one, and I was thanking them for their service and commitment to Kentucky. And I just happened to be looking at Kiki McKinney, and she was looking at me like, what is about to happen? And so they were giving all the coaches a round of applause. And then I said, and so for the next couple of years, this will be your coaching staff. And they jumped up out of their chairs and they were hugging each other and they started hugging us. So today was a great day. And, it gives everybody the stability that we're looking for. And now we can put that behind us and focus on the goal at hand.
Josh Moore.
Mitch, rewinded a few weeks ago to football. Just when some of the cases were maybe kind of affecting the program a little bit there with COVID, and they kind of the decision was made to keep playing, or those numbers not really affecting it enough to cancel the games. How big of a influence were you? Like, were you involved in those conversations with Mark? How did you kind of navigate that, and just your overall assessment of how the season went as far as just getting through it?
Two things, Josh. I appreciate that. I want to make sure we maintain the focus on women's basketball today, because that's really important for Kyra, and this is her day, and I don't want to take anything away from that. So, but I appreciate the question. I think the question, if you think about the medical piece of it, and she sort of referenced that a little bit. I'm not a medical expert, and I've not been through a pandemic. I'm not sure anybody else in this call has. If you have, then you're a more amazing person than I am, than I know. But I have not been through one. So this is new territory for any of us. And I will tell you, without the medical advice of Jim Madalino and our crew, I don't know how we would have made it through any of this. And I don't know how we would be able to continue without his expertise on that medical task force. I give Greg Sankey a ton of credit. He helped our athletic directors and our medical task force and our presidents find a pathway for our young people to. And we've heard it over and over. Young people want to play. They want to play the game that they love, whether that is football, women's basketball, swimming and dive. They all want to get and they want to compete. That's what they do. And so we've been in constant conversation with coaching staffs as well as those entities. And I think, you're not changing the rules to fit the narrative. We're not doing that. What we will do is stay with the protocols, live with the protocols, live with the challenges that are in front of us and address them. And our numbers got thin in football a couple of times and we were still able to play. And I admire and will always appreciate the effort that our folks gave. And we can talk about how we assess the season later on as we complete it and work our way through that. But I will tell you, our young people, I feel like are in one of the safest places they can be. There's no place where they're getting better care. They're being tested in women's basketball and men's basketball's case right now 3 times a week. And if there is challenges in all that, they have immediate care that we're able to give them. And I'm not sure that you get that. You could get that if you weren't in our care. Does it require some sacrifice? To Kyra's point, absolutely it does. There's some challenges in that, but there's also lessons in all of that. That things that you desire and things that you want to do and things that you're trying to achieve don't come just because you want them to. There's some things you have to absolutely work your way through and fight your way to get to. And that's the case in this pandemic. We're having to fight through an awful lot of things. The ability for us to be interacting face to face with our team on a regular basis is really difficult, really difficult. It is difficult to have team meals. It's difficult to travel. It is a real challenge. And I'll tell you this, the staffs are tired. The medical staffs and the strength and conditioning staffs who've worked so hard, they're tired. And they have worked operationally to get this thing up and running is a lot. If you just watch what goes on in a women's basketball game and the way that they're on the side of the court where the chairs are, it's fascinating. I just think it's much more difficult to coach the game because where Kyra might be able to say, sit here and I'm going to talk to you for a couple minutes. That person is 20 feet away in a chair isolated and she can't talk to her because she can't coach the game out here and you're away from your team. It is way different in coaching your team than ever before. I think it makes it incredibly difficult. That's why coaching in film sessions or coaching during practice or coaching in your film room, really, really imperative that you maximize that and get that right because the on the floor coaching is so much more difficult than it used to be. In my opinion, I won't speak for coach, but I think it's really difficult. And I've watched it. But I'm proud of our staff and how hard they've worked. I'm proud of our young people. They have been true to the protocols and they've done what they've been asked to do. We were one of only 2 football teams that went through the 11 straight weeks and made it through. Our basketball teams have only had 1 missed opportunity between the 2 basketball teams. Our volleyball team made it through 8, so I say made it through. There's an accomplishment in that. There was an effort that it took to get those things done. Our soccer teams completed the deal. And in the fall sessions, we'll go and compete in the spring. So we'll have all 22 sports teams competing in the spring session, in the spring semester. 22 sports teams will compete in the spring. And that will be an absolute load on our facilities, on our coaches and our staffs. But I'm really, really proud of everything that the Wildcat staff and coaches and student athletes are doing right now to give us a chance to step forward and do the things that they love.
Got time for a few more. We'll start with Mark's story.
Kyra, excuse me, obviously you and Matthew are close and you're inheriting a successful program, so there's great rationale for continuity, but are there things you would like to do differently?
Yeah, Coach Mitchell and I are very close. He is a brother, a friend, a mentor, and one of the reasons that I am sitting here today. And he has built a great program, and I am blessed to inherit a great team with a lot of talented players. But I feel like I've been invested in that process along with Coach Amber Smith, along with Coach Nia Butts. You know, there will be some things that I do different as far as making sure that there's great relationships with the players, communication. But I think we were so aligned in our approach that's what made our coaching duo so special, and we were successful. So the formula is laid. It is a matter of continuing to build and putting my own twist on it. And I don't know exactly what all of those things will be right now, but I'm sure I will figure it out as the season progresses.
John Wall.
Mitch, when you heard about the situation with Ryan and Tatiana at the beginning of the year, you probably reacted like all of us. Wow, what a way to start a coaching career. How much counsel did Coach Elzy seek with you on that? And how much did the way she was able to handle that situation influence you and your decision?
Frankly, I didn't know anything about it until she told me. So I'll be real honest with you. She walked in and we started talking about discipline. She says, well, I need to tell you something. And she told me. And I said, well, that tells me a lot about how she's going to lead. And I don't think that's not the reason why all that occurred. But she managed it in a right up front, right out of the chute, straightforward way. And so I think that she's referenced it a couple times in her comments that this is a lot more than basketball. And if we just play basketball and that's all we do and that's all we give our young people in any way, shape, or form, that's not what we're here for. We have a little saying around here, John, it's called, you give us 4, we'll give you 40. And that's 4 years of your life, we'll give you the next 40. And that's what Kyra and her staff are preparing these young women for the next 40. How to manage their lives as they walk out of the doors of the University of Kentucky. And the messaging to me early on was, this is a standard of which we will set our program and you will adhere to it. And when your best player needs to sit down to have that example of this is what we're doing and making sure we get it right, then that takes a lot of courage right out of the chute. I will tell you that takes a lot of courage. And so I admire her for the way she managed it. And I think that those lessons are learned and they step forward. We put those behind us and we move forward. And I think that's exactly what they've done. And I think that we'll be better for it.
Keith Farmer.
Yeah, this is for both of you. So I'll start with Coach Elzy first. You're getting ready to play the Dwayne Peavy game. Are you going to be seeking him out? And then also following that, Mitch, are you going to be making this trip?
I'm sorry, I didn't. Go ahead, Coach.
Of course, I will have to seek Dwayne Peavy out. He is a Wildcat through and through, and a great friend. And we will be in a dogfight at DePaul. And we started our preparations today, but that's why you play the game. You want to compete. You want to get better. And these are the games that will help us prepare for the SEC conference, which is the toughest conference in the country.
I just wonder who scheduled the game. That's what I want to know. Who scheduled this game? But no, I'm sure Peave is excited to have the Wildcats in town. It'll be a good one for them. I probably won't be traveling up for that one. We got a few things I need to attend to here, and frankly, we're trying to keep protocols as tight as we can. Then they don't need another body floating around there, so we'll let them manage that. Keith. But I'll wave at Dwayne from afar. So. Happy for him and proud of the job he's doing up there. He's doing a great job right out of chute for DePaul.
Josh Moore.
Kyra, I wanted to ask about, I know Coach Walls of Louisville was looking, at one point looking for opponents on Twitter and that kind of stuff. Just is there any communication? I know you're not going to play the game this year, but just about what they've had to go through with this stuff and kind of just sharing notes as far as, or with any other programs out there, kind of just how navigating these situations with the virus and when you have to pause and stuff?
Well, like I said, it's an unprecedented time, and you do talk to your colleagues and, get advice, encouragement, or whatever the case may be. And as far as Coach Walls, no, I have not reached out yet for any advice, but I'm sure that I will. He was my AAU coach, and we have a great relationship, and he has done a phenomenal job with that program. And yeah, look forward to following up with the series when the time is right.
Thanks everybody for being here today. Again, we appreciate you coming on short notice. Congratulations to Coach Elzy. Thank you, Mr. Barnhart. And we'll make sure to send out the Zoom and link information here in the next little bit. Thanks again.
Congratulations.
Thank you, and go Cats.
Go Cats.